Allah depicts and illustrates an amazing trailer in Surah TaaHaa, ayah number 124. If you at home and those of you who are with us would like to join this, I think it would be something else. As you all know, we try our best to elevate our recitation. So if you follow along, keep your eyes there. And remember that the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speak to the abd directly. They speak to the heart of the believer who wants tranquility. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to open your heart. فَأَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ I seek refuge with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from shaitan the accursed, who took his rationale, who took his thought process and put it above the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah depicts a very clear and open, subhanahu wa ta'ala, an open picture of a man who did not listen to the word of Allah and act upon it. A man who was reminded, a woman who was reminded, وَمَنْ أَعْرَضَ وَمَنْ أَعْرَضَ وَمَنْ أَعْرَضَ عَنْ ذِكْرِي. And don't you know the one who turned away from the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكًا. That person who heard Allah's reminder and turned away, he found difficulties and obstacles. It wasn't hard in the hereafter first. It was hard here in dunya. And constantly was he overwhelmed by obstacles and difficulties and opportunities being closed in his face. وَنَحْشُرُهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ أَعْمَى. And on the day of judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will raise this healthy and hale person. He will raise him a'ma. And if you listen, a'ma, a'ma, a'me, the sound that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala catches your attention with is that he will be raised blind. As he recites and as he is hearing the Quran and turns away from it, from the reminders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he asked his Lord and he says, قَالَ رَبِّ لِمَ حَشَرْتَنِي أَعْمَى. This healthy man says, لِمَ حَشَرْتَنِي. And even though he turned away from Allah, what did he call Allah? Rabbi. And when you hear قَالَ رَبِّي, and he calls out to his Lord, Ya Allah, my Rabb, لِمَ حَشَرْتَنِي أَعْمَى. Why am I blind? وَقَدْ كُنْتُ بَصِيرًا. Basira. Why, Allah, am I blind when previously I was healthy? I use these eyes to watch YouTube videos. I use these eyes to entertain myself in the word. لِمَ حَشَرْتَنِي أَعْمَى وَقَدْ كُنْتُ بَصِيرًا. And the way he asked the question, only Allah could answer this way. He says, قَالَ كَذَلِكَ. كَذَلِكَ. Allah responds to the blind man who forgot his remembrance just like this. كَذَلِكَ. He says, أَتَتْكَ آيَاتُنَا فَنَسِيتَهَا. He said, my ayat came to you, and just like they came to you, فَنَسِيتَهَا, and you forgot it. وَكَذَلِكَ الْيَوْمَ تُنْسَى. Today, you came to me, and I forgot you. A beautiful point. When Allah forgets the sinner, does he stop existing? No, just one ni'mah. Just eyesight goes away. لِمَ حَشَرْتَنِي رَبِّي. Why, Allah? Why am I blind? Because my signs came to you, and you took classes, and you took courses, and you listened and laughed and called them shaykh. But when it came time to know Allah, وَقَدْ كُنْتُ بَصِيرًا, you said, oh, I could see before. But on this day, the greatest ni'mah, the ulama tell us, and the tafasir tells us, is seeing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. لِمَ حَشَرْتَنِي أَعْنَى. And then he finally says, وَكَذَلِكَ الْيَوْمَ تُنْسَى. And if I would leave you on this, I will not close the trailer. You will read the next ayah on your own, and those of you at home will realize that what is given to you is from the gems of Quran. What is recited to you is from the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the next starts with the word كَذَلِكَ. Your responsibility. Learn what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's fate is for this man who hears week in and week out, year in and year out on dhikri, and forgets about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sadaqallahu al-Azim. Indeed, Allah speaks the greatest of truths. And you